Aloha, everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWayTrading.com. This stock market is so strong. It does not matter what negative divergence shows up on any indicator. It just continues to plow higher. Now, first off, before we talk about this market, the SPY hitting new all-time highs, and in this part, we're going to really focus on the QQQ because it's the leader again. The past month, if you look at a relative strength line versus the S&P 500, not shown on this chart, you will see that the previous leaders of the IWM and DJIA have rotated back that leadership to the QQQ, and that relative strength line is hitting new all-time highs. Now, guys, we run long-term portfolios at bigwaytrading.com, and I told everybody, and there are interviews with Kate Stalter at her website and another Live Life in Motion podcast, where at the start of the 2022 sell off, I said, not a secular bear market, cyclical bear market, want to be a buyer all the way down, all the way willing to buy SPY 250. Once we were below SPY 250, I had no game plan. Get back up through SPY 250. I'm all in everywhere. That was the game plan based on demographics and historical stock market analysis. During the 2022 bottom, I said over and over, this is not 2008. I expect us to hit all-time highs in 2024. Well, I didn't think we would hit it this fast, but we are. And if you look at the QQQ relative strength line, new all-time highs. So this is our leading index. Now listen, this move here, awesome. But ever since here, I just have not gotten the setup that I personally have wanted to use basically on the indices level to get all in on all of my longer term accounts that have cash on hands. Since I cannot get a market pullback, I've been piecemealing into quality long positions, which brings me to my long-term portfolio names. What are our favorite names? What were our favorite names throughout 2022's decline? They're all throughout 2022's decline. I was still buying AVGO, letting everybody know it was my number one stock in the stock market, my favorite of all favorites. That was replaced by NVIDIA, which is my favorite of all favorites, which then leads me to my favorite IPO, ARM, new highs, which then is also part of another stock that I love in my long-term portfolio, hitting new highs, AMD, ARM, NVIDIA, AVGO. What stocks do you think anytime that they pull back below the 200 SMA that I'm buying when they reclaim the 200 SMA? You know what it is. So these are our leaders in our long term. So we continue to piecemeal into them. And why I have to piecemeal is because, like I said, I just can't get, an entry. In perfect hindsight, I missed this low here, this reclaim of the 50, basically because the toss indicator, if this toss indicator, let's say during this pullback, stays above zero the entire time, right here, I'm long. Load the boat, QQQ 365. And we're still long QQQ, at least some of it. We'll definitely be trimming and trailing on the way up to 421. So what do we do now? What do I do now? Well, I'm going to continue to have new long positions. I'm going to continue to take them on an individual stock basis. I actually have two ideas for everybody. And last weekend's idea didn't even get 100 views on the video lessons, which is okay. I mean, I don't expect anybody to watch my shit. Is still in play. All three are still in play. All three can make you money. Are any of the setups ideal? Well, last weekend's is still good, but earnings is coming up at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month. So we're running out of a time frame to get long before you have an outlier overnight, basically binary event risk. So keep that in mind on that one. But with QQQ, as you can see, this tickets indicator is still above the zero line, but you can see that the TSV has been weak since, what is that? Early December? That's crazy. Since early December, TSV has been showing some weakness, but the QQQ plowing to new highs on the back of semiconductors. This kind of negative divergence is more apparent in the SPY, and actually depends on if you go down to the hourly time frame, which I've shown you in previous video lessons. The negative divergence started to show up back here in November, late November, and ever since then, on an hourly time frame, we just keep going higher. And you can see here a little bit of negative divergence since the beginning of December has not mattered. So this goes back to my other point. What do I say at almost the start of every video lesson? Price is all that matters. Price is number one. Moving average and volume is number two. Everything else is tertiary or quadrary. It just does not, it's important. It's great when it aligns, but price is all that pays. Now, like I said, you give me that tickets indicator above zero on that reclaim of the 50 right here, let's say, we're sitting, we're in peak pole position. But once we get over zero, you can either, and it worked. I've always said it gets over zero, you're green on TSV. You do a buy stop above the bar high of that toss line, the tickets indicator once it gets above zero. So that would have gotten you long at 455 on the SPY, and it's at 482. That's not how I play these guys. I needed a pull below the 50 with that indicator above the zero line to do a buy stop above the 50. It just didn't happen. So like I said, we keep piecemealing into the long terms. We keep taking swings. Let's take a look at some swings. First off, want to get back to the one from last weekend, CNXN. It's still right at its 50 SMA, curling off of it, candle over candle. The TTM trend momentum indicator wasn't curling when I first made the video. It's now printing a yellow bar. The tickets indicator is still sloping down, but it's above the zero line. And you can see right here at the very edge, the TSV indicator has gone green. So this has gone green. If this can go green here, I don't know if you can notice this, but on other parts of the chart, when they both go green, good things happen. So I'm hoping right here that once this goes green, this indicator, good things happen. If not, and if it triggers me in above the high, where do you think my stop is, guys? Where do you think my logical, rational stop is? Now, if you want to give it some porosity, maybe you put it here. Now, if you're really worried that you're going to get triggered in, filled, and then failed, maybe you calculate your size and put your final stop at these lows. It's up to you. This is where mine's going to be, so just letting you know about CNXN. Then the other two ideas I have, they're not perfect. They might be early, might have shakeouts. Keep this in mind. PLAB, I have a big giant cup high handle forming. PLAB is a semiconductor, high quality growth stock. Look at the time segment volume on the daily. Still, it's not aligned. The tickets indicator, we're back to green again. So now all we need is this one to go green. It's kind of our get long. You can see, it's hard to see, but the trend is still lower. But we have a yellow bar, just like we did in CNXN. That being said, it's pretty far off support. So if you trend join the trade above the day's high and risk to this low, you need to make sure you calculate your size for that event. If you want to risk to this low, and then if it happens to trigger, fill, and fail, you can calculate your size from this low while risking to this low. But PLAB, I like this one. It's not quite ready yet. Do you see here? It's not quite ready. If this, look at what happens when they're aligned. So let's just go back here. Green and green. Hey, at least you don't sell off, and then eventually you get a rip, and during this rip, green and green. It's just that green light is go, red light means, yellow lights mean slow, red light means no go. So these are just ideas. I think I would prefer to see PLAB pull back, find support around this 30 level, then move higher, breaking out above this high. If it just breaks out above this high on Monday or Tuesday, odds are we'll probably back and fill. It would be better to see us pull back, not trigger above this high, consolidate around 30, then get a better signal. But PLAB is definitely, definitely one. It's a semiconductor. It's not leading. The relative strength is not at new highs. So just keep that in mind. Wanted to show you the bigger picture, the weekly, to show you trend is up. Toss tickets indicator is up above the zero line, and the weekly TSV is turning green. So the higher time frame is leading the lower time frames. CRDO is going to be the last swing idea I have for you guys. The higher time frame, tickets indicators above zero, trending higher. TTM momentum structure is good. The TSV is turning green. So we got the higher time frame in order. Now we come down to the daily. You can see here, CRDO is breaking out 2 new highs. This is an IPO. So I love IPOs. CRDO, it's not quite can slim quality, but it's still very high quality. Relative strength is in new highs with price. Gonna have to get granular with this one. You can see that the momentum has shifted higher. You even have a light blue bar with the breakout confirming. The tickets indicator above zero and moving up. TSV is green. So we're aligned here. Now, does it mean it's going to work? No. The best entry would be around 20 at the pivot level. But you can get long above the high of the day, expecting continuation. Here's a recent stock. I went long. You would think that after this day right here, buying it above the high of the day would be chasing to this low, right? Technically, yeah, it'd be better to get it back here on a pull to 270, but it didn't happen. I am long CDNS. It is working higher. Will I be taking some profits on Monday morning? Yes. Will I be putting a trimming and trailing stop here? Yes. Will I now let the stop go lower than the low of the price bar? No. Why? Because I have a big gain immediately. I don't want this thing to turn red overall on the position. So getting back to CRDO, the game plan is to get up long above the high of the day. This is a better entry. I'll be calculating my size and risking to this low. And I'm going to remind everybody, it's not an all-in market for me yet on each trade that long that I take, where basically I'm willing to put 10 to 20% of my account in every single position that I get long, every single one, no matter what. I need that monthly TSV, which I showed you in the last week's video lesson, to close January green. Step 1. Step 2, we need official quantitative easing. All right, everybody, hope you enjoyed the video lesson. Good luck on these long ideas. If they work, great. If they don't, always use stops. Hard rule number 1 at big weight trading is always cut your losses. There are no exceptions ever.